meeting is called to order at 6:30, our annual organizational meeting. And we will have the Judge Trebitz will administer the oath of office for our two new board members. Ms. Jeschling?
Good evening, everyone. I just want to say what an honor and a pleasure it is to be this morning and please step forward. Forgive my voice, I'm a little cold. Please raise your right hand. I state your name.
I, Virginia Jessling,
Do hereby swear
do hereby swear
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution
the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the State of Ohio,
of the State of Ohio,
and that I will do my best
that I will do my best
of my ability
of my ability
and faithfully perform
and faithfully perform
and discharge
and discharge
the duties
the duties
of my office
of my office
as member
as member
of the Mentor
of the Mentor
Exempted Village
Exempted Village
School District
School District
Board of Education.
Board of Education.
Two copies, please. Pictures. Yeah, we can go right there. Good call. See that or wait 15 minutes, one or the other.
Right after the meeting. We might have to in between.
Yeah.
Okay, please raise your right hand. I state your name,
I, Sally Miller,
do hereby swear
do hereby swear
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of
the
Ohio,
Constitution of the State of Ohio,
and that I will,
and that I will,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
faithfully perform
faithfully perform
and discharge
and discharge
the duties
the duties
of my office
of my office
as member
as member
of the Mentor
of the Mentor
Exempted Village
Exempted Village
School District
School District
Board of Education.
Board of Education. Thank you.
Your choice.
Photos.
Great judge, thank you. Great job as always.
Photos. Mr. Wilson, will you please call the roll?
Ms. Jesling,
Present.
Ms. Miller,
Present.
Mr. Shaw.
Here.
Mr. Tuttle.
Here.
Mrs. Briner.
Here. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I will accept a nomination for election of the president.
I nominate Mary Briner.
Second?
Thank you. Please call the roll.
Mr. Tuttle,
Yes.
Mr. Shaw,
Yes.
Mrs. Jesling,
Yes.
Ms. Miller.
Yes.
Mrs. Briner.
Yes. Thank you. And a nomination for election of the vice president.
I'd like to nominate Mr. Tuttle.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Mr. Shaw.
Yes.
Ms. Gesling,
Yes.
Mrs. Miller,
Yes.
Mr. Tuttle,
Yes.
Mrs. Briner.
Yes. Thank you. And I will take volunteers for OSBA Legislative Liaison.
I'll do that once again.
Okay. Thank you, Tom.
You're welcome.
Volunteer for OSBA Student Achievement Liaison.
I'd like to volunteer for that.
Thank you. And do we have a volunteer for Mentor Schools Foundation?
I'd like to volunteer for that.
Thank you, Ms. Miller. Okay, first resolution, establishing place and time for regular meetings of the Board of Education.
So moved.
Thank you. Second,
Second.
please call the roll.
Mr. Tuttle,
Yes.
Mr. Shaw.
Yes.
Ms. Jesling,
Yes.
Ms. Miller,
Yes.
Mrs. Briner.
Yes. And establishing Board of Education Service Fund for 2014.
So moved.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Mr. Shaw,
Yes.
Ms. Miller,
Yes.
Ms. Jesling,
Yes.
Mr. Tuttle.
Yes.
Mrs. Briner.
Yes. And a resolution for providing for employment of legal counsel for the Board of Education.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Mr. Tuttle,
Yes.
Mr. Shaw,
Yes.
Ms. Jesling,
Yes.
Ms. Miller.
Yes.
Mrs. Briner.
Approval of membership to the Ohio School Boards Association for 2014.
So moved.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Mr. Tuttle,
Yes.
Ms. Miller,
Yes.
Ms. Jesling,
Yes.
Mr. Shaw,
Yes.
Mrs. Briner.
Yes. Approval of membership in the Ohio School Boards Association Legal Assistance Fund.
So moved.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Ms. Jesling,
Yes.
Mr. Shaw,
Yes.
Ms. Miller.
Yes.
Mr. Tuttle.
Yes.
Mrs. Briner.
Yes. Approval of membership to the National School Boards Association for 2014.
So moved.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Ms. Jesling,
Yes.
Ms. Miller.
Yes.
Mr. Shaw,
Yes.
Mr. Tuttle,
Yes.
Mrs. Briner.
Yes. Appointment of the hearing officer.
So moved.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Mr. Shaw.
Yes.
Mr. Tuttle,
Yes.
Ms. Jesling,
Yes.
Ms. Miller.
Yes.
Mrs. Briner.
Yes. Appointment of compliance officers.
So moved.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Ms. Jesling,
Yes.
Ms. Miller,
Yes.
Mr. Shaw,
Yes.
Mr. Tuttle,
Yes.
Mrs. Briner.
Yes. Authorizing the superintendent to establish class fees, student fees, and other appropriate fees.
So moved.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Ms. Miller,
Yes.
Mr. Shaw,
Yes.
Ms. Jesling,
Yes.
Mr. Tuttle,
Yes.
Mrs. Briner.
Yes. Authorizing compensation for some miscellaneous duties performed by certificated and classified staff members.
So moved.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Mr. Tuttle,
Yes.
Ms. Jesling,
Yes.
Ms. Miller,
Yes.
Mr. Shaw,
Yes.
Mrs. Briner.
Yes. Authorization for Director of Business Operations to advertise for bids pursuant to Section 3313.46 of the revised code.
So moved.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Mr. Shaw,
Yes.
Mr. Tuttle,
Yes.
Ms. Jesling,
Yes.
Ms. Miller.
Yes.
Mrs. Briner.
Yes. Authorizing the treasurer to file real estate complaints.
So moved.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Ms. Miller.
Yes.
Mr. Shaw,
Yes.
Ms. Jesling,
Yes.
Mr. Tuttle.
Yes.
Mrs. Briner.
Yes. Requesting advance payment of funds from county treasurer.
So moved.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Ms. Jesling,
Yes.
Mr. Tuttle.
Yes.
Ms. Miller,
Yes.
Mr. Shaw.
Yes.
Mrs. Briner.
Yes. Authorization for submission of grants and funding programs.
So moved.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Ms. Jesling,
Yes.
Mr. Shaw,
Yes.
Ms. Miller.
Yes.
Mr. Tuttle,
Yes.
Mrs. Briner.
Yes. Authorizing the treasurer to maintain petty cash and change funds.
So moved.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Ms. Miller.
Yes.
Ms. Jesling.
Yes.
Mr. Shaw,
Yes.
Mr. Tuttle,
Yes.
Mrs. Briner.
Yes. Authorizing selected student activity program contracts.
So moved.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Mr. Shaw.
Yes.
Ms. Jesling.
Yes.
Ms. Miller.
Yes.
Mr. Tuttle,
Yes.
Mrs. Briner.
Yes. Authorizing non-salary remuneration for employees.
So moved.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Ms. Jesling,
Yes.
Mr. Tuttle,
Yes.
Ms. Miller,
Yes.
Mr. Shaw,
Yes.
Mrs. Briner.
Yes. Dispensing with separate resolutions approving checks.
So moved.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Ms. Miller,
Yes.
Ms. Jesling,
Yes.
Mr. Shaw,
Yes.
Mr. Tuttle,
Yes.
Mrs. Briner.
Yes. Authorizing blanket purchase orders.
So moved.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Ms. Jesling,
Yes.
Mr. Shaw,
Yes.
Ms. Miller,
Yes.
Mr. Tuttle,
Yes.
Mrs. Briner.
Yes. This meeting is adjourned. Do I need a,
Yes. Motion.
Motion.
do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
And I'll second Mr. Tuttle's motion.
Please call the roll.
Mr. Tuttle,
Yes.
Mr. Shaw,
Yes.
Ms. Jesling,
Yes.
Ms. Miller,
Yes.
Mrs. Briner.
Yes. Now this meeting is adjourned. Thank you. This meeting is called to order. This is the fiscal 2015 tax budget hearing for the Board of Education. Mr. Wilson, please call the roll.
Ms. Jesling,
Here.
Ms. Miller,
Here.
Mr. Shaw,
Here.
Mr. Tuttle,
Here.
Mrs. Briner.
Here. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And we have a report from the Chief Financial Officer, Mr. Wilson.
Yes, annually, the Ohio Revised Code requires that we provide notice through the newspaper and conduct a tax budget hearing and file the adopted budget, which will be on the agenda in our part of our regular meeting with the Lake County Budget Commission. The purpose of the tax budget is for us to verify that we are in need of all the previously adopted tax levy generating revenues to support the education in our community. This is not our realistic budget document, nor is it part of the central management of the school district, but rather we refer to this as an insurance policy. In the unlikely event that all prior delinquent taxes get collected and 100% of current delinquent taxes are collected, and we're successful in every Board of Revision action and Board of Tax Appeal action, it's conceivable that tax revenues would exceed the amount of our normal budget. So for the purposes of this document only, we inflate our general fund needs by $10 million, which we could justify if that monies were to be available. We could address deferred maintenance needs, technology needs, and new instructional initiatives. And the second fund that receives tax revenues is our permanent improvement fund. We inflate that by $500,000. Again, we would use that to address preventative maintenance needs and some equipment upgrades in our facilities if that money were to occur. So this will provide, in any eventuality of additional unexpected revenues becoming available to us, and also recaptures the previously adopted board levies that the community has authorized. The purpose of this hearing is for the board members or anyone in the public to come express an opinion on the justification for the needs of the current tax revenues, and if there are no comments or questions, we simply conclude the tax budget hearing and we'll proceed with request to adopt as part of the regular meeting.
We have to pass that.
You know,
Okay.
another adjournment, and then we wait until 7.
Gotcha. Okay, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Mr. Tuttle?
Yes.
Ms. Miller?
Yes.
Ms. Jesling?
Yes.
Mr. Shaw?
Yes.
Mrs. Briner?
Yes. This meeting is adjourned. The January 14th, 2014 regular meeting of the Mentor Exempted Village Board of Education is called to order. This meeting is being held in accordance with Section 3313.15 of the Ohio Revised Code. Mr. Wilson, will you please call the roll?
Ms. Jesling,
Present.
Ms. Miller,
Here.
Mr. Shaw,
Here.
Mr. Tuttle,
Here.
Mrs. Briner.
Here. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance. I would like to welcome everyone to the January 14th, 2014 regular meeting of the Mentor Exempted Village Board of Education. Prior to this evening, each board member has received for their review and consideration the agenda and materials associated with each agenda item for the board's approval via the district's paperless Board of Education agenda system, Board Docs. The public can access the agenda through the school district's website. The agenda is available through the district's website for public viewing the Sunday prior to the board meeting. Board members have the opportunity to call the superintendent and chief financial officer for information concerning agenda items and to request, if needed, additional information. There are 2 places on the agenda when the board entertains comments from the community. The first hearing of the public is dedicated to those who wish to address the board on agenda items only. The second hearing of the public is dedicated to those who wish to address the board on any subject, whether it is an item on the agenda or another issue. When addressing the board, please state your name. Comments are limited to 3 minutes. Please address questions to the president. This meeting is being televised on a delayed basis and will be shown on Channel 96 in Mentor and Channel 22 in Mentor on the Lake. Please place your mobile telephones on silent mode during the meeting. I will entertain a motion for approval of the minutes for the December 10th, 2013 regular meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Do we need an abstain from Jenny?
Her preference. She was here, saw the meeting.
Okay. Please call the roll.
Mr. Shaw,
Yes.
Ms. Jesling,
Yes.
Ms. Miller,
Abstain. I wasn't there.
Mr. Tuttle,
Yes.
Mrs. Briner.
Yes. And now we will have our first hearing of the public on agenda items only. Seeing none, we'll move along. And the superintendent's report and recommendations, Mr. Miller?
Thank you. Good evening, Madam President, members of the board. I have the following recommendations and recommend approval of consent agenda items 5A1 through 5A3.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? Please call the roll.
Mr. Shaw,
Yes.
Ms. Jesling,
Yes.
Ms. Miller,
Yes.
Mr. Tuttle,
Yes.
Mrs. Briner.
Yes.
Thank you. Madam President, members of the board, January is School Board Recognition Month. The entire Mentor Schools community appreciates everything you do and will do to make our school system so successful. Tonight, we have special guests with us from Bellflower Elementary, and they have a presentation for you, and I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Hardy.
Madam President, members of the board, Mr. Miller and Mr. Wilson, thank you for allowing the staff and students of Bellflower Elementary to represent all of the Mentor schools as we show our appreciation to the members of the school board. The theme for our presentation is Mentor School Board, Planting the Seeds and Cultivating Our Dreams. As Debbie Boone said, dreams are the seeds of change. Nothing ever grows without a seed, and nothing ever changes without a dream. This is especially true in education. We have a gardening kit for each of you to start the new year with all the right tools.
Thank you.
The trowel is to help you dig through all of the new laws and legislation coming out of Columbus. The rake is for putting the finishing touches on all of our students each year. The spade represents the decisions that you make to turn over old practices and embrace the new to help Menor schools grow and change. The snips are for you to make healthy cuts to ensure the budget is fiscally sound. The pruners are to help you keep the district in shape so that we stay on the cutting edge. And finally, the spray bottle is to remind you that your decisions are far-reaching and significantly impact all stakeholders. We hope you enjoy what we've prepared for you. At this time, I would like to introduce the Bellflower Student Council President, Luke Chacon, to start us off.
Good evening. On behalf of Bellflower Student Council and all of Mentor Schools, we have put together a basket of appreciation. Shasta Daisy, meaning love that is loyal, for the love you have for Mentor Schools and the good wishes we are sending your way.
Sunflower, meaning pride, devotion. For the pride and devotion you show through your position on Mentor School Board.
Delphinium, meaning courage. For your courage to serve on the Mentor School Board and the time and energy you give to do the job well.
Baby's breath, meaning festive happy. That you maintain a happy outlook and keep your meetings focused on what's best for the students.
Forget-me-not, meaning faithful, for your consistent loyalty and faithfulness to the staff and students of Mentor Schools.
Cardinal climber, meaning cardinal pride. Once a cardinal, always a cardinal. Because of your hard work, we all have cardinal pride.
Thank you.
On behalf of Bellflower Elementary and Menor Schools, thank you.
Nice job, everyone. Those are lovely. I can't wait to plant them in the spring and see what comes up. Thanks very much. Very thoughtful.
Thank you.
Good.
Okay, we will take a 5-minute break. Anybody that would like to leave can feel free to do so if you have homework or anything else on your agenda for this evening. Thank you for coming, and you are welcome to stay if you'd like. We'll reconvene the meeting.
Thank you. Madam President, and members of the board, we are proud to recognize one of our outstanding teachers tonight, Mrs. Stephanie Nowak, who has won the Lubrizol Science Teacher of the Year award. She is very well deserving of this award, and to make the presentation is Mr. Porter, along with Mr. Shaw. And if Mrs. Rogers wants to come up as well.
Good evening, Madam President, members of the board, Mr. Miller and Mr. Wilson. Each year for the last 19 years, the Lubrizol Corporation awards one teacher, one science or math teacher in the county as Teacher of the Year, including a $5,000 grant. This year, Mentor Schools is proud to be home of this year's recipient, Mrs. Stephanie Nowak. She was recognized on December 12th at a county celebration. Mrs. Nowak has been in our district nearly 20 years and is currently a third-grade teacher at Rice Elementary School. She was nominated by Mrs. Mary Ann Tatarunas, one of her teaching colleagues. Her dedication to her students, to our district, and to the pursuit of excellence in science education makes Mrs. Nowak an excellent choice. We call her forward, she's here, to accept a token of our appreciation and pride, along with her principal tonight, Mrs. Rose Rogers. Congratulations.
More. Oh, wow. Good. Thank you so much, everybody. I appreciate it.
Mr. Porter, the yellow flowers are from Mrs. Farrell for her.
Aww. Oh, and do you see the vase?
Ah,
That's perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bill.
Oh, we're all proud of you. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Congratulations again. Madam President, members of the board, I have asked Mrs. Bonas, our curriculum director, to report on the Mentor High School course updates.
Madam President, members of the board, Mr. Miller and Mr. Wilson, I am pleased to share some recommended high school course updates which will provide students with increased opportunities to earn credit towards graduation and/or college. The dual credit enrollment option will enable our students to earn both high school and college credit by taking college courses offered at Mentor High School. The dual credit coursework option mirrors our current post-secondary education option. But instead of taking PSEO classes at Lakeland Community College with a Lakeland instructor, the student can elect to take the same exact course instructed by Mentor High School teacher at the high school. Students will receive access to Lakeland Community College resources combined with the structure and supports of Mentor High School. Interested students are required to have a 3-point grade average, meet with a guidance counselor, obtain parent permission, and submit paperwork by March 30th. Because dual credit students would otherwise be taking current courses we offer at Mentor High School, we do not foresee an increase in staffing. Furthermore, if we are able to attract our students who would otherwise take their PSEO classes off-site, for example, at a local college or university, we would be able to save costs otherwise lost through the state funding model. In the upcoming school year, we propose offering Mentor High School students 4 college-level courses, which will include English Composition 1, English Composition 2, College Algebra, and Trigonometry. In addition to the dual credit course options, the Science Department has revised the Astronomy and AP Physics courses. The Astronomy course was updated as a 2-semester class, with Semester 1 focusing on the solar system and Semester 2 focusing on the universe. Students can take either course or both. The class will be offered as a lab, helping students meet their 3rd science requirement for graduation and college, because it will count as an earth science course. The changes will not impact high school staffing costs. The course will be offered to 11th and 12th grade students, and the prerequisite is the successful completion of Algebra 1. The solar system course will provide students with knowledge and insight into various bodies in the solar system, including the sun, planets, moons, meteorites, asteroids, and comets. Through lab activities and demonstrations, students will explore our evolving understanding of these bodies and their interactions with Earth. Students will also learn to explain the movements of celestial objects through the use of the planetarium. In the Universe course, the students will learn about the nature of light and its use in studying stars, galaxies, and objects outside of our solar system. Lab and classroom activities will include star maps, stellar evolution, cosmology, and searching for extraterrestrial life. Students will utilize current technology to aid in the exploration of our changing universe. The Science Department has also made improvements to the AP Physics course. This course would now be offered as 2 one-semester courses rather than 2 full-year courses. We were able to accomplish this because the physics course is a 3-mod class. about 70 minutes of class time per day, rather than a 2-mod course of about 48 minutes. By compiling the courses, it provides students with the option to take additional high school course offerings. In conclusion, we believe the dual credit option and the improvements to the science courses will benefit Mentor High School students by providing additional educational options for earning high school and/or college credit. At this time, I'd be happy to answer any questions from the board.
How many students would you expect to enroll at full complement?
You mean in the dual
Yes, that.
credit?
all
Right
these
now, we think there'll probably be about 20 to 30 students. That's what we're, believe, that we're estimating. And we're going to do this for a year to see how the funding, making sure it's beneficial for the district, for our students. And
Would that be a standalone class, or if I were a senior English student, could I take that class, but not for Lakeland credit, just for the Mentor credit?
it's for the Mentor credit, yes. You
Does
mean in
everyone in the
addition?
class get dual credit, or?
Yes, everyone in the class gets dual credit, yes. Second.
Do we know if any other high schools in Lake County are offering this?
Dual credit courses, I believe so, but I couldn't tell you which ones they were. I don't know if anybody else. No, not necessarily in Lake County.
Notre Dame Cathedral Latin does.
Okay, thank you. That's Geauga County, okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Bonas.
Thank you. That's okay.
Madam President, members of the board, I am recommending approval of agenda item C1 related to certified staff and item C2, C3, and C4, all related to human resource matters. One slight correction on the original paper copy of the agenda sent to you on page 5. Ray Lamanna should not have been listed as an outside coach. He is a staff member. That was the only correction.
Thank you. Motion?
So moved.
Second?
Please call the roll.
Mr. Tuttle?
Yes.
Ms. Miller?
Yes.
Ms. Jesling?
Yes.
Mr. Shaw?
Yes.
Mrs. Briner?
Yes.
Thank you. This concludes my part of tonight's agenda.
Board of Education report and recommendations. Legislative report?
Just a brief update, and that's all that was. They've just gone back into session, so there's carryover bills that I've listed here that relate to public education. Interesting, I tallied up the numbers. There's 10 bills that I've summarized there, and of those 10, 6 of them are related to health and safety, 2 directed to education, 1 towards teachers and contract issues of evaluation, and the 4th one funding. So that's where they're at today. So it's kind of interesting, I thought, to just summarize. 6 of them go towards health and safety. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Tuttle. Any other business? Okay. Chief Financial Officer's report and recommendations. Mr. Wilson.
Yes, it's recommended the financial statements for the month of December 2013 be approved and placed on file for audit.
So moved.
Second.
I
Thank you.
just report that so far to date, with half the year completed, we've collected 50.9% of budgeted revenues and have spent 45.3% of revenues, very similar to the patterns last year. The expenditure level will move closer to expected. There's some timing issues with some semester purchases that begin second semester, but overall very much as expected.
Thank you. Any questions? Please call the roll.
Mr. Shaw?
Yes.
Ms. Jesling?
Yes.
Ms. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Tuttle?
Yes.
Mrs. Briner?
Yes.
It's recommended the Board of Education approve the investment transactions listed in Exhibit 7-B.
So moved.
Second?
We actually got a 0.4% rate for a one-year investment. That's our highest rate in a while. As pitiful as that is, we're excited about it.
I saw that.
Wow.
Thanks, Dan. Please call the roll.
Mr. Tuttle?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller?
Yes.
Ms. Jesling?
Yes.
Mr. Shaw?
Yes.
Mrs. Briner?
Yes.
It's recommended the Board of Education approve the one interfund transfer presented in Exhibit 7-C.
So moved.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Mr. Tuttle?
Yes.
Mr. Shaw?
Yes.
Ms. Jesling?
Yes.
Ms. Miller?
Yes.
Mrs. Briner?
Yes.
It's recommended the Board of Education approve the appropriation modifications presented in Exhibit 7-D.
So moved.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Mr. Shaw?
Yes.
Mr. Tuttle?
Yes.
Ms. Jesling?
Yes.
Ms. Miller?
Yes.
Mrs. Briner?
Yes.
It's recommended the Board of Education approve the supplemental appropriations presented in Exhibit 7-E.
So moved.
Second. Please call the roll.
Mr. Shaw?
Yes.
Ms. Miller?
Yes.
Ms. Jesling?
Yes.
Mr. Tuttle?
Yes.
Mrs. Briner?
Yes.
They recommend that the Board of Education approve 2 invoices for payment as presented in Exhibit 7-F.
So moved.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Ms. Jesling?
Yes.
Mr. Tuttle?
Yes.
Ms. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Shaw?
Yes.
Mrs. Briner?
Yes.
And consistent with our tax budget hearing a few moments ago, I recommend the Board of Education approve the fiscal year 2015 tax budget as presented in the budget hearing and direct that it be filed with the Lake County Budget Commission.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? Please call the roll.
Ms. Miller?
Yes.
Ms. Jesling?
Yes.
Mr. Shaw?
Yes.
Mr. Tuttle?
Yes.
Mrs. Briner?
Yes.
And it's recommended the Board of Education adopt a resolution recertifying the tax rates as presented by the Lake County Auditor's Office and found in Exhibit 7-H.
So moved.
Second.
These are the same rates we previously adopted. Twice a year, the Budget Commission and the Auditor's Office ask us to recertify the rates. We have not had any action since the last time, so the rates remain the same.
Please call the roll.
Mr. Tuttle?
Yes.
Mr. Shaw?
Yes.
Ms. Jesling?
Yes.
Ms. Miller?
Yes.
Mrs. Briner?
Yes.
That completes my items this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. Any unfinished business? Any new business? And now we will entertain a hearing from the public on any item.
Good evening, Madam President and fellow school board members. Thank you for allowing me to speak tonight. I appreciate that. My name is Elaine Foster, and I am a resident of Mentor. I approached the board tonight with information that I have recently received that the land adjacent and south of Dale R. Rice Elementary School in Mentor has been discussed with the Mentor School District about possibly the city of Mentor acquiring that land or wanting to pursue acquisition of that land adjacent to Dale R. Rice. I've been a Mentor resident of 30 years, raised my children in my home 26 years, and my home is the backyard of Dale R. Rice. I've been very active in the school there, and my children have enjoyed playing baseball in the back there. And it saddens me to think that the land there may be bought up by the city of Mentor, and we don't know. Their plan is to make it into a green space and possibly develop some of the acreage, and I don't know exactly what that means. I would like the opportunity to speak with area residents that are using or have their backyards up against the wooded acreage there, and reapproach the board, possibly with my findings, perhaps signatures of area residents, concerns, pros and cons. If that would be permissible, I would like the opportunity to do that. I am concerned about that and would like the board to consider keeping it just as it is. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? We will now convene into executive session to discuss employment, personnel, and potential litigation. We don't anticipate any voting after the meeting. You're all free to go if you'd like. I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
No, executive session.
Executive session, so, thank you.
So moved for executive session.
Second?
Please call the roll.
Mr. Shaw?
Yes.
Ms. Jesling?
Yes.
Ms. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Tuttle?
Yes.
Mrs. Briner?
Yes. Thank you.